And hello, everyone. I, as always, am the undefeated king of games for the Nevermore Collective, the Midnight Bard, joined again by everybody's favorite Judgement, Dareinger. And today, we're answering the tough questions like, are you telling me that a shrimp fried this rice? Are you telling me that I had another one and now I can't remember it for the life of me?
The shrimp did fry the rice.
The shrimp did fry the rice? That's
Yeah,
good.
it is shrimp fried rice is fried by shrimp.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I'm happy to hear that that is exactly the way that things are. I always kind of worried that it wasn't the case, but I don't know. I'm happy to hear that it is. But yeah, so I mean, we have kind of an interesting episode today. We'll be looking at two things here. We're going to be looking at ruling questions for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. As you know, Dareinger has been a judge for the longevity of the game, and I just recently became one, so I got to answer some questions. You know, I got to prove my mettle. Test my mettle. Metal is a good genre of music. But yes. So Dare's going to be he put together this presentation of slides that have questions on them, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. So, what do you say, Dare? Should we get started?
I say we should. We should get started.
Okay.
We should start with the starting right now.
All right, let's get started on starting. We shall start now with the thing. We have Helix in the chat along with Patience G. Welcome, guys. We're about to find out exactly how knowledgeable I am. So, question one, you put here two cards. You put Ultimate Fusion and Bingo Machine Go. And the question that I see here is, can Bingo Machine Go search Ultimate Fusion?
That is correct.
Okay.
Can Bingo Machine Go search for Ultimate Fusion?
Sure, let's have a look here. Reveal 3 cards from your deck that each meets at least one of the criteria listed below. Your opponent randomly picks one, adds to your hand, and shuffle the rest into your deck. Okay, so the criteria being it has to meet at least one of the criteria, so it's either got to be a Blue Eyes monster or a spell or trap that specifically lists the card Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon in its text, except for Bingo Machine Go. Ultimate Fusion says, during the main phase, fusion summon one fusion monster that lists Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon as material by shuffling fusion materials listed from it from your hand, field, or graveyard into the deck. Then you can destroy as many face-up cards your opponent controls equal to the number of Blue Eyes White Dragon and Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon used for material on the field. It does list Blue Eyes White Dragon and Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. So I think that, yes, Bingo Machine Go can search Ultimate Fusion.
That is correct. This was one of the easier questions that I found off the adjudication page.
Okay, great.
And it's a simple, you just got to read your cards, bro.
I really expected this to be like a trick question. I was half expected to be like, yeah, but you see, Blue Eyes White Dragon and Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon in Ultimate Fusion is under quotation marks. So it doesn't technically list them, it just alludes to them, is kind of what I was expecting was going to happen here.
Yeah, and I think that was the problem that the player who asked this question was under the influence of.
I see.
But yeah, it's as long as it mentions the Blue Eyes White Dragon or Ultimate Dragon, it is allowed. It is a legal target.
Got it. Okay, so that is one for the Bard, for all of you keeping score in the comments. Question 2. Player A controls Mystic Mine and Field Barrier. Player B activates Harpy's Feather Duster. What happens? Okay, so Mystic Mine being a field spell, Field Barrier saying field spell cards cannot be destroyed. Also, a new field spell card cannot be activated. So this is one that goes back to like whenever me and Mordor were dueling when we were younger, and he would put Field Barrier on his Venom Swamp. I think that you would go to destroy Harpy's Feather you would go to destroy stuff with Harpy's Feather Duster. These would have to be destroyed at the same time because of Feather Duster, so it's not like one gets destroyed and then the other, so I'm going to say Mystic Mine survives.
That is correct.
Okay.
And it's for the reason, like you said, Field Barrier and Mystic Mine are both marked for destruction at the same time, which by that, it means that Field Barrier is still on the field, providing the protection to Mystic Mine upon destruction.
Sweet. That's another one where it kind of hinges on what happens at what time. I always would kind of think that, okay, well, it's destroying all of them collectively. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like one thing is on the field that's protecting something else, but what happens if you remove all things from the field at the same time? Like, say, for example, with AA Zeus, you know? However, in this particular case, Mystic Mine is protected by Field Barrier, which takes the hit.
Yep.
Sweet.
And that's something that, like, I think with Master Duel and other like card games that Konami's put out that I don't really agree with is they always have it animated as if it's a single cell being destroyed one after the other. And it should be they all get destroyed at the same time. That way it alleviates any kind of confusion.
Right, because it's real easy to get caught up in that where, like, okay, well, what happened? It looks like one went to the graveyard one after the other, but in reality it's like, no, Harpy's Feather Duster says destroy all spells and traps. That's one effect going off, all of them go away collectively. So yeah. Number 3, and this one already looks tough because it's got one of my favorite...
It's got some text for you to read.
I know it. It's got one of my favorite love-to-hate monsters on it, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Boy. Question 3. Chain Link 1. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon moves to pop DDD Decider King Deuce Machinex. Chain Link 2. DDD Devicer King Deuce Machinex moves to destroy Dark Contract to make Dragoon into a material. And does the effect of King Machinex go through making Dragoon into an Xyz material? I almost want to say yes because it's Chain Link 2, so it would resolve first. But let me double check just by reading here. So he is. I'm gonna assume that he's not on the scales. He's activated as a monster, right?
Yes, he would be on the field as a monster in this case.
Okay, so you can also Xyz summon this card by using a DDD monster you control as material. Transfer its materials to this card. You can only control one DDD King Deuce Machinex in your monster zone. Once per chain, when a monster card your opponent controls activates an effect, quick effect, you can either detach 2 materials from this card or destroy 1 contract card you control, and if you do, attach that monster's card. Alright, cannot be destroyed by card effects. Neither player can target this card with card effects. Yeah, I think that Dragoon would be attached as material. And the reason why is because the effect doesn't look like it targets. It just says attach that monster.
Yep, that is correct. I tried to make it seem like it was going to be harder, but it's just as simple. Does Devicer King say target? And
right.
It does not.
Yeah, like that's exactly what I was looking for because I was like, I know Dragoon's got some stupid protection, and that's why I love to hate him because he's not a busted card. He's not hard to get around, and he's not hard to play around. But it can get really annoying to deal with him whenever you're trying to think, okay, well, how can I move such that I can bait out the negate if there is a negate, or bait out the pop if there is a pop, and still either absorb him or remove him without targeting him?
Now you know that you can use Divisor King for that.
Yeah, yeah, that is a way to do it. Either that, or you can go with the tried and true Gamma Seal. My Red Eyes Dark Dragoon does this. No, it's a turtle now.
It is a turtle, just like with super heavies. That's a nice card you have, but now it's a giant mechanical spider, and now it's a steam train.
And now it's Steam Train King. I love super heavies. Okay, question 4. We have Appaloosa, Apollo USA, Bow of the Goddess, and Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. So, an opponent activates a monster effect. Chainlink 2 Appaloosa to negate the effect. Your opponent then uses Chainlink 3 to go into Ghost Ogre. Does Appaloosa's effect resolve to negate the original monster? I think I know the answer to this one, but let me just double check. During either player's turn, when a monster on the field activates its effect, or when a spell or trap card that is already face up on the field activates its effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, destroy that card on the field. You can only use this effect of... Okay, so Ghost Ogre does not negate the activation of the effect, it just destroys it. But does Appaloosa need to be on the field to resolve its effect? Becomes used for its link summon. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can make this card lose exactly 800, and if you do, negate the activation. Ooh. Let me...
I wasn't going to give you all 10 of them for free. I was going to make you think a little bit on at least some of them.
I'm going to say... Make it lose 800. I'm going to say no on this one. Appaloosa's effect does not resolve.
That is correct.
Sweet.
Appaloosa has to be on field for her to lose the 800 life points or the attack points. So if Ghost Ogre is Chainlink 3, it will destroy her before she can lose her attack, and that means she will not be able to negate the effect.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what had me sitting here for a second, because I was like, wait, she needs to be on the field to lose that 800 attack points. If she can't do that, then her effect does not resolve. So yeah, Ghost Ogre being Chainlink 3 will pop Appaloosa before she can lose the 800 attack points, thereby making her effect not resolve. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Now I'm 4 for 4.
You said you watched Tom Box, so the next question is actually one that I got from one of his videos.
Oh, this is...
We'll see. We'll see if you've seen that the name video.
I don't think I have, because I don't remember him doing a video about the Cyber Dragons. And here's the thing: normally when Tom Box asks me questions, I get them wrong. Like he's got some real curveballs that he throws at you. So we'll see.
Well, I think this one's one of the easier ones, so I mean, you should be. I feel like you'll get this one. You've done. You'll get 5 out of 5 on it. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, let's have a look. Your opponent has a Cyber Dragon core and a Cyber Dragon in the graveyard, and you have a set called by the grave. Your opponent normal summons a Cyber Dragon core, and your chain will be called by the grave. What do you target to negate the Cyber Dragon core your opponent summoned? Okay, so Cyber Dragon Cord says, when this card is normal summoned, add 1 Cyber spell or trap from your deck to your hand. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 Cyber Dragon monster from your deck. You can only use the effect of Cyber Dragon Core per turn, and only once that turn. This card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while it is on the field or in the grave. Oh, I see now. You would have to banish the Cyber Dragon with Called by the Grave, because if it is on the field, then yeah, because its name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. So if you banish the Cyber Dragon, that negates both of them, the one on the field and in the graveyard, I feel.
I forgot to put the Cold by the Grave up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted it there in Discord for you. if you want to take a quick look at that and see if that uh,
Uh,
further confirms or if it changes your answer for you.
let's see. So, Called by the Grave says target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do, until the end of the next turn, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of monsters with the same original name. Okay, no, now this changes things. So, if it's of the same original name, then you have to banish the Cyber Dragon core.
Yeah, that's I read that and I was like, oh, I forgot to put the key card up there.
I was about to say, man, like that was that. Yeah, that was the underhanded tricky one. It's like, ah, original name changes things, doesn't it?
Because it's when I saw this on Tom boxes, I was like, if you don't know the exact wording of called by, it's called by is you banish a card from your opponent's graveyard and negate the effect of that card. That original name in the last three words of the card being the same original name, that changes everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, banishing the Cyber Dragon core is what you would need to banish to negate the core on field.
I want to say hello to Pimp Demon in the chat. Welcome to the Nevermore Collective, Nevermore Nerds stream, where we talk about all things nerd culture. And Patience says, Dareinger trying to set Bard up. I agree. Leaving information out.
I promise that it may or may not happen again.
Okay, so we're moving on to question 6, where it says, if a Salamangreat monster is used to link summon Almirage, do Salamangreat Gazelle and Parallel Exceed both trigger? All right, so Salamangreat Gazelle says, if a Salamangreat monster is sent to your graveyard, except a Salamangreat Gazelle, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one Salamangreat card from your deck to the graveyard, except Salamangreat Gazelle. You can only use each effect of Salamangreat Gazelle once per turn. Okay, and Parallel Exceed, it will special summon itself to a link arrow that a monster points to?
Yep.
Yeah, and
then you get a special one from deck, and they both become level 4.
Right. So, if a Salamangreat monster is used to link summon Almirage, do Gazelle and Parallel Exceed both trigger? Yes. 100%. Provided that it wasn't Gazelle that was used to link summon, which I don't think it can be. I think it has to be under 1,000 attack points, right? For Almirage?
Yeah, that part's not really important. It's just that you are sending a Salamangreat to the graveyard for the summon.
Right.
So it does trigger Salamangreat Gazelle's effect in this case.
Yeah, so it will trigger Gazelle and Parallel Exceed, and
so you're going with yes.
I'm going with yes.
Well, Bard, you are 5 for 6.
Really? Where did I go wrong in this one?
Trigger effects have a special ruling that you can only use one trigger effect per chain if it's from hand.
What?
So if you do a Salamangreat to summon Almirage, you can trigger either the Salamangreat Gazelle effect to summon or the Parallel Exceed effect to summon.
But not both.
Because I believe at that point it's Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, and then the other effect that you try to trigger would be the Chainlink 3, and it would be responding to the Chainlink 2.
I see. Okay. So it gets chain blocked by one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
Wow. Well, I had so many hopes. I tried to make these super easy for you. And
well, you did tell me that you were trying to make them super hard.
Oh yeah, the ones I had before were like impossibly hard. I still have some of like the old ones, and there's like a Cosmo farm girl question, and the explanation is literally like 2 paragraphs of why it's not a legal thing to do. It's like I'm not gonna make him read like 6 Cosmo cards.
I'm not. You know what's funny is that I hear about salads all the time. I have never ever ever gone up against a salad ever. So like it's strange because everybody just like sings its praises for just being really efficient, and being able to play through a lot of things. But I'm like, why aren't people playing it more?
Yeah, it's almost at full power too. I think they're just missing one Salmon Great Circle.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, they've got all their cards back.
Mm.
It's just Gazelle is at like 1 maybe,
Right.
and Circle's at 2. Other than that, the deck's at full power. It's not like a big summon Unga Bunga beater type guy. It's more of a I'm going to summon Heat Leo, put Roar, and then on your turn, I'm going to allow you to do nothing type deck.
I see. Okay. Okay. Kind of like my life twins, where like it's like, yeah, I'll start by putting Baguska in defense position and putting my setting myself up with like a IP Masquerena and something else so that I can Nightmare Unicorn during your turn. And if I can, just for funsies, I'll put out a Nightmare Griffin out there too.
Just everything you said there hurt my soul.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like playing against Stormy. He's like, I'm going to activate the trap card and steal your monster. I'm like, no, don't do that.
Live twins are pretty crazy. I like them. Let's see. Next one. Ooh, I know these cards. I like these cards. Question 7. Your opponent controls a Blue Eyes White Dragon, a White Stone of Legend, and a White Stone of the Ancients. He activates Chaos form and tributes all 3 to summon out Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. Is this legal? You can ritual summon this card with Chaos form. Must be ritual summoned. Cannot be special summoned by other ways. Cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Okay. This card can be used to ritual summon any Chaos or Black Luster Soldier ritual monster. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field and or banish Blue Eyes White Dragon or Dark Magician from your graveyard whose total levels exactly equal the level of Chaos or Black Luster ritual monster used to summon. So 2, 4, 6, 8. No, this isn't legal.
That is correct.
Yeah.
I was going to put a older ritual launcher like Black Luster Soldier.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to go all the way back. I felt like keeping it fresh with the new Chaos form and the new Blue Eyes that came out like 6 years ago. But
yeah, he's the new Blue Eyes, all of 6 years old.
But this is the Pebble rule is what they refer to it as, and it says basically you can't over tribute for a ritual summon. Like if you have a level 9, you can use a level 9 to tribute for a level 8 ritual monster, but you can't tribute a level 9, a level 3, a level 4, and a level 1 for a level 6 ritual.
Now, there are some exceptions to this rule, right? I mean, I seem to recall that there are certain ritual spells that say that the levels must equal or exceed what you're summoning.
Well, that is that's basically the Pebble rule is you can exceed the level, but you can't overly exceed. So like I was saying, you can tribute a level 9 for a level 8.
Okay.
And you're exceeding that by 1. But you can't like if it didn't say it has to exactly equal, this case would be like exceeding by 2 extra cards that you didn't need to sacrifice for it.
I see what you're saying. So basically, okay, I'm going for a level 8, but what I have available to me is a level 9. I can do that, but I can't add anything to it. I have exceeded it, but it's not going to allow me to tack on extra cards, just to exceed it more.
Yeah, and that's why, like I said, I should have done like Black Luster Soldier, because I believe BLS does say what you said, which is equal to or exceeds level 9,
right,
or whatever he is. But yeah, this is, like I said, it's called the Pebble rule. It's a ritual rule, which came up with Drytron, and that's what the question I got from was. It was a Drytron question about attack modification and how that would work, since they ritual summon with attack. And I was like, I don't want to read Drytron cards. We'll use Chaos Max.
Yes. No, nobody reads Drytron, and that's why they're so hard to stop.
Is good.
Yeah.
So you're 6 for 7.
Okay. So we're going on to it's not moving past slide 7. We're stuck on slide 7. Yep. We're stuck on slide 7.
Huh.
Oh no.
Can you go back and then try?
Sure.
Can you go to slide 6 and then 7?
No. Either way I go, it doesn't let me. So let me try something here real quick, because we were gonna move into this afterwards anyway. But let me try switching windows real quick, and let's see here, properties. Got it. All right. So we're gonna turn off this. And let me try reopening the presentation real quick.
I was going to say, this is going so smoothly. And then here we are now. Stuck on question 7. Guess I can just ask you that 3 and hope that you forget.
Okay, we got it. I just have to move back now, so give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna turn off the volume on Master Duel because it's really loud in my ears. Let's see here. Help me out here, Master Duel. Don't make this difficult on me. There we go. That's perfect. Perfect. All right, we'll turn down Master Duel, and we will go back. And here we are. Question 8. Question 8 says, your opponent controls an Alexandrite dragon and 2 set cards. You control Trickstar Lilybell. You use Lilybell's effect to attack directly, and your opponent activates Skill Drain. What happens? If this card is added to your hand except by drawing, it can special summon it from your hand. You can only use this effect of Trickstar Lilybell once per turn. This card can attack directly. When this card inflicts battle damage, your opponent can target 1 Trickstar monster in your graveyard added to your hand. Controls 2 Alexandrite Dragon and 2 set cards. You control Lilybell to attack directly, activate Skill Drain. So it would go back to the start of the declaration. Because if you're negating the effect, it wouldn't go through to attack directly, so it would ask you, a replay happens, would you like to continue attacking?
You said the word that I was hoping you'd say. Yeah, so whenever Skill Drain's activated, the attack target, which is the player, is no longer a valid target because the effect is being negated. And you are then given the ability to redeclare your attack. So you are correct.
Sweet. You know, I used to like in my head I was like, yeah, the judge exam. I kind of guessed my way through it, and we made it, boys. But I'm like, I'm not 100% sure that I know the rulings to this game as well as I think I do. But this is giving me quite the boost in confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I wanted, like I said, I didn't want to give you like chain link 34, resolve this chain for me and tell me if chain link 1 actually goes off. But I put some ones in there that I thought were harder, and we'll see if you can get these last 2.
Okay, assuming that the what's it called doesn't freeze on me again. Let's see. Boom. All right, number 9. Okay, a player summons Lumina Lightsworn Summoner. They have a Raikou and Raiden in the graveyard. Can they use Lumina's effect, discarding another Lumina to then summon the discarded Lumina? Once per turn, you can discard one card. Period. Or, okay, so yeah, colon, you can discard one card. So that happens. Then target one level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster in your graveyard. A special summon that card. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, this was an easy one. And it was kind of like the Farm Girl one. The Farm Girl one was player controls Farm Girl face up. There's a Tikaboo on the field. Is it legal for the player to activate Farm Girl to banish and summon another Dark Lady? Which they're the same.
Yeah, they're psychics, right?
Yeah, they're both psychics.
Yeah, so like with Tikaboo, you would only be allowed to control one of each type. So theoretically, it sounds like you wouldn't be able to. But one thing happens first, and that's you pay the cost. So the cost you're going to do no matter what. So once you've paid for that, then your effect activates. It's the same way that, like, what's it called? Battle Butler and Access Code Talker can get around things on the field, like, skill drain. Because they'll tribute themselves for cost, and then they'll activate afterwards.
You're somewhat correct with your response to that.
Mm-hmm.
So this question that I asked is basically the same principle as you can discard Lumina because there's another target. The Cosmo Farm Girl is able to actually activate her effect because there is another legal target in the Dark Destroyer ships that the Cosmo players play.
I see what you're saying. So, like, for example, if the Raiden and the Raikou were not in the graveyard, you wouldn't be able to activate this effect at all because there has to be another legal target in the graveyard before you can activate it.
Yes. And I kind of wanted to do a similar question without having to put like 6 different Cosmo cards on the... I can just put Lumina on the screen and be like, these are in the graveyard. They're Lightsworns.
Mm-hmm.
Where I would have to be like, Cosmo Farm Girl, Cosmo the words, Dark Lady, Cosmo Dark Destroyer, Cosmo Tin Can. And it's like I don't want to put all those cards on the screen.
Yeah, simpler is better.
Simpler is better.
Yep. So we're at presently, what is that, 8 for 9?
8 for 9, yeah.
All right. And lastly, we got, I think I already know where this is going. I see a Book of Moon and Effect Veiler. So, question 10. Chainlink 1. A player activates any monster effect on the field that activates, such as Robina or Eaglin. So, your Flowanderies monsters.
Best deck monsters, yeah.
Yeah, best deck monsters. Chainlink 2. Player B activates Veiler targeting said activated monster, so either the Robina or the Eaglin. So you would be moving to negate the effect of Robina or Eaglin on summon, I would imagine. So then Chainlink 3, player activates Book of Moon targeting that monster. So basically you would be flipping the Robina or the Eaglin face down after your opponent had activated the effect Veiler.
Yep.
Chainlink 4, player B activates another Veiler. Does the card player A activated resolve? Okay, so that's a lot of things happening here. So I'm summoning Robina. You're playing an effect Veiler to negate the effect of Robina, which I think is to search and then to normal summon. So I see what you're doing by activating the Veiler, but I know that Veiler can't target a face-down target, so I can activate my Book of Moon to flip my Robina face down, allowing its effect to slide. And then you activate another effect Veiler, which is not once per turn, which drives me nuts. You can activate another effect Veiler from your hand, making it Chainlink 4, which means that it would be the last thing on the chain, so it would resolve first, meaning that Veiler would negate Robina. Robina would get flipped face down by Book of Moon. The first Veiler would fizzle, and what?
Oh, there's that word. Don't.
So what?
Start using the forbidden word.
Using the fizzle word.
Oh, don't say it. It's like Voldemort. You're not supposed to say it.
So basically, the question becomes: what happens? Does Robina still get its effect? I'm gonna say no, it does not, because the last effect Veiler would be the first thing to resolve negating the effect of Robina?
Well, you have gotten 8 out of 10 correct.
Really, going face down makes it so that it dodges the effect of the Veiler.
When cards are flipped face down, they forget any effects that are applied to them.
Oh, this goes back to the
So,
card memory thing. Like, what does a card remember? Yeah. Mm.
so the effect veiler would apply to the Rabina.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Book of Moon would flip it face down, making it forget the effect veiler. And then the other effect veiler would have no valid target because it has to be a face-up monster. And then the Rabina effect would go off for the search and summon.
Wow. Okay, that is good to know. Uh,
I'm really happy you got 8 out of 10.
hey.
I was think I was like, I'm hoping that I didn't make these too hard. I'm hoping that he's able to like just read through them and get the correct rulings done. And you did. You made me proud, son.
I'm very happy, Pops. But yeah, this I at the very least I'm consistent because what's it called? My test, whenever I took the judge exam, was an 80% also.
Well, that means that you are a what is it? A B?
Uh,
80% a B?
I am a B judge.
You are a B judge.
And I don't know, like it's there are some scenarios that don't come up as frequently as others. So, for example, like the last one with the Veiler, it's like this doesn't happen all the time. You know, it does happen,
Yeah.
but you know, like it's kind of it's more of a rare thing.
Well, that's I was really considering like the whole 43 chain link thing was a joke, obviously, but
Mhm,
I was considering doing some of the judge calls that I've actually had,
mhm.
which I had one that was chain link 13, and I was going to make you sit and resolve through it backwards
Oh my
because
god!
I had to sit and resolve through it backwards.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But I think you would have been able to do that too because it was a simple Appaloosa can only activate once per chain.
Yeah,
So
like, and that happens too, where it's like it's a once per chain thing. So like you got things like Zeus, which it does not have that restriction. You know, like you could keep activating Zeus as long as you can take material away from it. You know.
yeah, I saw the distant coder video where they chain link 17 with it and
Yeah,
then broke Master Duel.
yeah, and then broke Master Duel. So there's things like that, but then there's things like Appaloosa where it's like no, that's once per chain, buddy. I've also seen people do things like during the battle phase they'll try to Veiler something, and it's like you can only Veiler during your main phase, you know. So
I was going to ask about the battle phase too, but I was like, I don't want to deal with the battle phase and trying to explain that if he gets the question wrong.
I've been getting like grudgingly familiar with the damage step because of the way that I play Forbidden Droplet. Where it's like, this is one of those rare negations that you can't play during the damage step because it also adds or subtracts attack points, which is something you can do. So,
Yup.
it's kind of like I've resorted to just like purposefully going in for a swing to my opponent when I know that they can do something to stop it, just so that I can droplet during the damage step, so that it's like now you can't do anything. Which back in about a year ago, I would have considered it a ballsy move. I'm like, why would you do that when you could try to like do it during the main phase? I'm like, oh, it's simple. You can't respond during the damage step. Like there are very few things that do. So yeah.
That was I saw there was a Tom Box video where it was everything about the damage step, and it was like a 30 or 40-minute video when all of his others are like 20, and I was like, this is going to be a lot of information for me to try to take in.
Yeah, this is a children's card game. Of course, the rules are simple and easy to understand.
Well, you have your main phase, and then you have your battle phase, and you have your main phase too, and they're all just a singular phase. But you look at the battle phase, and there's multiple steps within the battle phase.
Yeah, yeah. The battle phase it's a war zone. No pun intended.
It's what, 4 or 5 different steps in it.
Yeah,
You have you're getting ready for battle, your pre-battle, your battle, your after battle,
yeah,
which aren't the actual names. It's
yeah. It's like what's
uh,
it called? Declaration and targets and so on and so
it's
forth.
pre-step, before damage phase, post damage phase, or damage calculation,
Yeah,
after damage calculation, and you have to look at it because, well, flip monsters flip up during the pre-damage calculation, and their effects are applied after damage calculation.
yep. So that's what makes the battle phase kind of like the weird one out of all the phases, because it's like so much can happen. And
That's why whenever I get the damage phase ruling questions brought up at locals, I'm just like, oh God, please ask someone else.
yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. And chains like the Valor and the Robina thing are also like really weird ones, because it's like there are some really obscure things that come into play don't that you don't think about often or very frequently. Like, for example, in this particular case, it was the card memory. It's also kind of like come up a couple of times during my Tri Brigade games where it's like, okay, well, Revolt should be able to summon these things, but it's like, no, because you didn't link summon them properly. Therefore,
Yeah,
they remember that they weren't link summoned properly, so you can't special summon them from your graveyard. So yeah, it's one of those things that exists, but it doesn't have like a name, like an official thing, so you just have to know about it.
yeah, and that's like, I don't remember who asked it in the Discord, but someone had a ruling question asking about why they couldn't activate the effect of
It
the Odd Eyes
Yeah, it was Sky.
Winged Dragon.
It was Sky.
And yeah, and is because she wasn't synchro summoning it. She was using Absolute Dragon to special summon it,
Right.
and it's like the card has to know how it was summoned.
Mm.
Like, if she flipped it face down and face back up, it would still be like, well, I don't know if I was synchro summoned or not. And I think actually that's the same reason with why certain cards don't get their effects if you use like extra foolish burial to send them from the extra deck to the graveyard and then bring them back from then,
Mm-hmm.
because the card's never been face down, so it still recognizes that it hasn't been summoned properly,
Right.
and it won't get its effect.
Yeah, and what is it? The thing about the Odd Eyes, what was it? The one that she was trying to activate was that very specifically in its card text says if you control this synchro summoned card. So it's like
Yeah.
it was never synchro summoned. You cheated it out. So that's kind of why that didn't fly. And I swear I watched that replay like 3 or 4 times trying to figure out like what went wrong. And then I'm
Well,
like, I see what happened now.
that's the thing that I like about the ruling questions that we have in the Discord, is that I like the approach that both of us take. Is you went immediately to look at the replay, and I just read over it and I was like, I bet she's not synchro summoning it, and that's why she can't get the second effect off.
Yeah.
And we ended up both coming to the same conclusion for it. And
that was kind of a like a downer for me though, because like I came in like I found the answer, and it turns out you had answered it like 30 minutes before. I was like, damn it.
that's I always love that it's just like, I'll see there's a ruling question, I get so happy, I answer it, and then like 30 minutes, hour later, you're like, I know what's wrong. Oh,
Well, now you know what's wrong too. Oh man, that's hilarious. Like I cracked up whenever that happened. I was like, well, I'm glad I looked through that so thoroughly, because I'm not even kidding when I say that. I was pausing the game after every move, reading to make sure that there wasn't a clause that we were missing. And then, like, continuing, next move happens. All right, reevaluate. What happened? Okay, nothing happens. All right, move to the next step, and so on and so forth. For every turn, for every move that was played until I arrived, and I was like, oh, it needs to be synchro summoned, which happened at, like, turn 7. So I went 7 turns before I was like, there's the answer.
It's just you just gotta read your cards sometimes.
Yeah. But that it was fun. I mean, like, either way, I enjoy watching replays because you get to see some really crazy things happen sometimes. And like, for everyone who's watching, who's seen the Master Duel tournaments that we host here, yeah, you've seen people play a lot of cards and in rapid succession. And I bet if you're not like a regular player of the game, I bet you're wondering, like, how are they doing all those things? Well, no need to feel discouraged. A lot of the times our opponents are doing things, and even we don't know how the hell they're doing all that. It's just kind of like, well, I guess you can,
I'm not gonna argue. Just keep putting cards down on the field, Mr. Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Yeah, exactly. Which with Gamma and Sky, like those two get up to some real shenanigans with their decks. Like, whatever they're playing, I'll duel them from time to time. Like, if I get off work early enough, I'm like, let's go, and we'll start a duel. And I always have to, like, I remember whenever we first started, like, the Discord, where, like, all of us just got together and started dueling each other. I remember I thought to myself, I got some pretty good experience. I'm pretty sure I can get this. And everybody kind of, like, was on the same level. But everybody's been progressively getting so much better. And I'm at a place now where before it was like, yeah, like, I could kind of relax with the games a little bit. Now I'm like, I have to be on my toes all the time with you guys. I can't take it easy.
Who everyone's getting progressively better, and Bard is kind of staying the same.
I've just plateaued, yes. I have plateaued, and I have not gotten any better since the very start.
If it makes you feel any better, I haven't touched the game, and I haven't touched Master Duel in a hot minute because I'm more or less waiting for Exo Sisters to come out in it.
I don't know if they're going to be coming out in this next pack, but we will be getting the new cards either tomorrow or the day after. Me and Sky were discussing it. Me, Sky, and Gamma were discussing it yesterday, and I don't remember, like, if we came to an agreement as to when they were coming out. But
I think it's supposed to be tomorrow.
Yeah, the dual pass ends in 6 hours, so I kind of figured they would come on after, but there probably will be, like, an update that needs to happen between then and now. But speaking of replays, I kind of wanted to share this one that kind of happened, and it was normally like, if you'll see here through my replay screen, every replay that I save, like, is usually done within 3 turns. About 3 turns is my average. That's usually about the time that it takes me to close a game. But the normal Rare Festival started taking place about a week ago. And it basically cut off a lot of, like, the big power cards. They're still power cards. They just require more steps a lot of the time, But you'll notice here whenever it starts, which is the ones labeled Exhibition, we start going up. Okay, well, now there's 4 turns, 6, 8, 7, 15, which is like a record usually, because it's like, okay, when you take a lot of, like, the really oppressive cards out of the game, what happens is now we're trying to control the field, is what I've noticed by and large. These games stopped being about flexing how strong you are and started being about stopping your opponent from advancing. So a lot of the cards being played are very, very control-y, very, very grindy. They have, like, this manner of slowing you down or stopping you for a turn. And basically this is what happened on this duel, which my opponent was playing Dark Magician and I was playing Metal Foes. So let's have a look. Loading. And here we go. So, kind of very simple. Like, I'm using Metal Foes in combination with True Draco because you can kind of control the field a lot in that way. So, activate my Metal Foes effects to kind of like pop cards on the field. You know, like the True Draco cards will activate in graveyard to pop something that's set. So you can choose something like, for example, Metal Foes combination to add something to hand. Pretty basic stuff. So I end with like a 2100 defense Metal Foes steal-in on field, face down. And my opponent goes to move to his Berry Magician Girl. And it's at this point that I'm like, oh, God. I know exactly what's about to happen. Magician Girl's...
It's going to be very painful for you.
It's going to be very painful for me. But I start kind of like shuffling things around using my Metal Foes cards. And this is kind of a misplay that I make, where I popped my Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix that was on the field. And it goes to graveyard, allows me to pop something on my field. And I decide to go to pop my Metal Foes counter, because my Metal Foes counter has the effect that, you know, you can banish it from graveyard to... add one face-up Metal Foes Pendulum monster from my extra deck to my hand. But I don't have a face-up Pendulum monster on my extra deck, so I'm just basically popping it, and I forgot. I was like, ah, crap. And my opponent had something set, which I could have popped, but I just wasn't thinking. I was like, yeah, if I pop this, I can add something to my hand. But then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Whoops. So I'm targeting my own Metal Foes counter, and luckily, you know, I can... activate Metal Foes counter to use its other effect to summon something on field. So I've, you know, okay, it's not a completely lost play, but I did mess that up real bad. So resolution, counter, special summons a Metal Foes Vol Flame, and then Draco Phoenix pops counter. I flip up my Stealin, and I go to attack the Berry Magician Girl, thinking to myself, we got this. But Berry Magician Girl, as you know, special summons from the hand whenever you attack it. So I just go, all right, end phase. I don't want to attack Apple Magician Girl because I know that stupid things happen when you do that. She summons another one from hand, and then your attack points are lowered. I don't want to deal with that. So my opponent goes and uses his Magician's Rods and then Chaos Form to summon Magician of Chaos, which is... extremely frustrating because anytime that I activate an effect, now he can use his Magician of Chaos to destroy something on my side of the field. So he goes to attack, and I use Metal Foes counter Metal Foes Fusion, full Metal Foes Fusion, which is the quick play. And he pops one of my targets, so now there's no fusion monster that I can go into. And I'm like, come on, man, this sucks. So kind of move along here. You know, just kind of like continue on with my plays a little bit. Just kind of trying to like mitigate what's going on. So I'm gonna like use the Metal Foes counter now that one of mine was destroyed. Get another Vol Flame. He's still gonna punch into it, and my Stealin is at 0 attack. I thought I was gonna be able to fuse it, and I was not able to. So just kind of take a lot of damage in that turn. And now he ends with a Magician of Chaos, also known as Dark Magician on field, a Magician's Rod, a Berry Magician Girl, and an Apple Magician Girl, all face up on the field. So this is kind of a really annoying place to be, because he basically has a lot on the field, and I have almost next to nothing. Now, that being said, the cool thing about Metal Foes is that they have this unique ability where a lot of the times you can play without a hand. You have to like have met the correct circumstances in order to be able to do so, but you know, for the most part, if you have like some of your traps in the graveyard, like Metal Foes counter, you can banish the Metal Foes counter from your graveyard to add something to hand. If you have something on your scales, you can always, you know, tutor something out of the deck. So there's kind of like a lot that I can do, even though my hand is significantly less and his is significantly more at this point. Actually, in this particular case, he's got 2 in hand, I got 2 in hand, but he's got a much greater field presence than I do. So it's just kind of like this crap. Well, where do we go to from here? And it it goes places. So let's continue here. So my turn. I'm like, okay, draw into a silvered, activate counter to add the stealing back to hand. Now my hand is up to 4. Activate the silvered on the scales. Pendulum summon. And we're going to go into Volflame and Volflame, and then use them as Xyz material to go into Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. And this is the same play that Sky was talking about. And then I use Bismugear to target, my silver to pop it. Set something, but then he goes and uses his Magician of Chaos to pop my Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, and I cheat out the Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, and bounce his Magician back to hand. Fusion into Mithrilium. Basically, my entire play at this point is just, try to control the field by removing as much from the field as possible. I'm using Mithrilium to bounce things. I'm using my counters to just kind of like keep adding things to my hand. But you can see here that I've ended in the exact thing that I said I was going to end on, which is 0 hand. He's got 4 in hand and 4 on field, so a little bit at a disadvantage, I would say, kind of, sort of. It just kind of depends on how well you can recover from a situation like this. But luckily, being that it's a grindy game, we're kind of doing this thing where we're just kind of holding onto our resources a lot and just kind of trying to push and poke wherever we can without actually doing harm to each other. He's already done a lot of harm to me, but I'm just kind of trying to leverage some advantage where I can. So popping my own things, activating counter to special summon from deck, and then using the effects of the things that I popped to put more advantage out onto my field. No hand, but I'm doing everything I can. Negating the Berry Magician Girl here with the Vortex Dragon. Shuffling back something. It negates, it gets popped, nothing happens, but then here I make the mistake where the Apple Magician Girl summons another Apple Magician Girl, summons another Apple Magician Girl, and I don't like them apples. Just ram my Vortex Dragon into a Apple Girl after he lost so much attack power. It was kind of upsetting.
Oh, wow. That's I'm not like there's delay obviously,
right?
But just watching 3 Apple Magician Girls,
right,
slamming your face into it.
No, here's
how do you like them apples, boy?
I don't like them apples. I don't like them at all. But here's the thing. And this is a presumption on my end. I thought that it was a once per turn. I didn't read it. So I thought he'll be able to summon another Apple Magician Girl, and then that'll be that. And as soon as this happened, I was like, I was wrong. He could do it multiple times. This sucks. So it's just kind of like, damn it. But you learn to read your cards every time you step in a big mess like this one. So moving on here, he summons a Lemon Magician Girl, and I'm just slowly trying to like make my way here. Every time I draw a True Draco card, I pop it with one of my scales to set something that'll give me more advantage, and at the same time take advantage away from my opponent. And every chance I get, I use Mithrilium to send something back to the hand, so that way I don't have to worry about it. However, after running into 3 Apple Magician Girls, I'm not dumb enough to make an attack until I'm sure it'll go through. So, just kind of like waiting it out here. He uses Lemon Magician Girl to special summon something, or I think it's add something to hand, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he had a Demock with it.
Right. So
I believe it's tribute another Magician Girl in the field to add a spellcaster to hand, I think.
Right. And then he goes for the Chaos form. Now, I'm getting ahead of him here because I know that if he manages to get that Magician of Chaos back on the field, anytime I activate an effect, he's going to be able to destroy something I control. So I activate the Full Metal Foes Fusion, so that way when I activate it and his Magician's on field, he won't get that advantage on me, you know? So basically preemptively putting something on the field before he has a chance to pop it, or to pop a target when I'm trying to fuse. So I go with the Mithrilium and the Volflame to put an Orichalc on the field because it has 2,800 attack. It's a big boy. He's going to have a hard time swinging over. He goes ahead and Ritual Summons using Kiwi Magician Girl and Lemon Magician Girl to put his Magician of Chaos on field. And I use Mithrilium and Metal Foe's combination to... So, combination will put Mithrilium back on the field because I Fusion Summoned Orichalc. And then at the same time, Mithrilium will summon something onto the field from face up on my extra deck, so I take, Volflame. Now, he activates his own card to pop my Metal Foe's combination, which triggers Metal Foe's combination to add something to my hand, so that's good for me. I'm not mad about it. And he goes ahead and hits Mithrilium. Mithrilium does the thing again, puts another Volflame on field. And now it's my turn, and I think to myself, I got this. We're going to go ahead and scale, Mailcaster. And he's going to pop my Bismugear. With Bismugear, whenever it's popped, it adds something to my hand during the end phase. I'm not mad about it. But I go ahead and scale the Volflame and Xyz summon into Dark Armed the Dragon of Annihilation. Use Dark Arm to pop his Magician. His Magician has kind of like this thing where it's actually his equip spell that adds life points to him. And then I pop his other monster and I Pendulum Summon into my Mailcaster. And then pop to put a Metal Foe's counter on the field. Now I have Recursion in case he destroys something of mine. And I'm going to swing for big damage, putting us roughly in the same playing ground. So we're on turn 11, and this entire time it's just been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So he's going to go into his Berry Magician Girl, which is annoying because I can't even target it with Mithrilium, because if I do, it's effect procs. So I'm just going to have to play smart around this one. And I think my play here was I'm going to try to activate its effect because it's going to put it into defense position. And when it does, Orichalc has an effect, has a Chaos Max Dragon effect where damage that I inflict into it while it's in defense position will be doubled. So I'm going to try to do that. So I'm destroying my own things in order to trigger my own counter, using my counter to special summon something, and then using my Mailcaster to add something back to hand, and then using my Parametal Foe's Fusion to, put something else on the field, which I'm going to go ahead and put my, I think, Mithrilium again? Yeah. This is the monster that just will not go away, because I'll keep summoning it every chance I get. And I'm just going to bounce all the stuff that I can back into his hand, leaving this Berry Magician Girl very vulnerable. So I'm going to swing with the Dark Armed, and he's going to go into defense position, summon a Lemon Magician Girl. Lemon Magician Girl is going to summon, the Dark Magician of Chaos, which its effects are negated, but he will, get rid of my Dark Armed. He's going to banish my Mithrilium, and he removes the Berry Magician Girl in the process of doing so, which means that I don't get to do as much damage as I was hoping to do, which I thought might actually close out the game, but oh well, here we are. Activate counter, add Volflame back to hand, and here he goes, putting a Apple Magician Girl and then ramming his Dark Magician of Chaos into my Orichalc. And Orichalc triggers destroying a monster on field. So just the state of the game presently is just, I hit you, you hit me back, I hit you, you hit me back, and it's just kind of like this whole thing where we're trying to deny each other solid footing. And like the thing is, in a normal Master Rule game with like where we're playing with a normal ban list, this kind of game is unheard of. By the second turn, it should be very clear who has the advantage. Either the person who set up the unbreakable board or the person who has broken the unbreakable board and is now in a position to take game. It's very rare that it's going to be like a huge back and forth like this one, which I'm removing his stuff from the field using my Metal Foe's effect, and he's using his Magician effects to be really obnoxious. But
yeah, the only time that you really see games like this in like the normal format that outside of the exhibition games is if the person you're paired up against plays something like really gimmicky that is purposely made to like stun your opponent into turn 15 and then burn them to death.
Yes, agreed.
Like
Like for example,
like
like
Time Lords.
yeah, like I was gonna say, like for example, the decks you play, like Mystic Mind Burn and Time Lords. So
I'm a terrible person.
no. I mean, like they're legit strategies, and it certainly I appreciate them for what they are because they really make the meta people stop and think that hey, maybe I'm not invincible. Like if something so weird like Time Lords can tear me apart with me having nothing that I can do about it, I should really reconsider my plays, which I for one am all for it. I love it when a rogue deck takes precedence, So basically, what I'm trying to say here is we're on turn 14 here, and this entire time we've been neck and neck. Like there's been no definitive "you're ahead, I'm ahead." It's been like let's continue hitting each other until one of us quits. So he's gonna go ahead and what's it called? Add stuff to his hand, which he adds a lot. He adds the Apple Magician Girl, the Berry Magician Girl, the Kiwi Magician Girl, and it's a mess, man. And he sets 2 and he passes. During his end phase, I go ahead and use my Metal Foes Fusion, so that way whatever he set cannot be activated on my monster this turn. It's an easy way to like duck around like really stupid destruction effects.
Torrential.
Like Torrential, for example, yes. So I'll bounce his Lemon Magician Girl, and I'll summon the Bao Baboon, allowing me to draw a hand, and then activate Bismugear to pop Bao Baboon, setting up full Parametal Foes Fusion, and summoning 2 back onto the field. And this is where he's just like, you know what? Enough. I've had it. Oh man, like the entirety of this game, man, I was just like, what is happening? And it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like this is an experience because this is so out of the realm of normality for what Yu-Gi-Oh is, So it was extremely enjoyable. Even though like there are some moments where I'm like, he's got me, I got nothing I can do, and then the next turn is like, no, I got him, there's nothing he can do. And pretty much the entire time we're just kind of like just being annoying to each other, and it was absolutely beautiful, and I enjoyed it, so I figured I'd share that with everyone.
Yeah, I enjoy whenever games go past turn 2. That being able to actually just like have a strategy and having to like think through how you're going to actually play the game makes the game so much more enjoyable than I summon out Dragoon, I win.
Yeah, I summon Dragoon, have fun. It's like good luck. It's so frustrating because like there's, and like I said, Dragoon is one of those cards that I love to hate. It's not terribly difficult to deal with. It's not an Artifact Scythe, which I hate dealing with Artifact Scythe because a lot of my answers live in the extra deck. So what's it called? Whenever I'm barred from entering my extra deck, now there's a lot of things that I can't deal with. And Dragoon will stop you from doing things, and when he stops you from doing things, he'll destroy something and he'll get stronger. But that doesn't mean that he can't be removed. So, for example, if I bait out the Dragoon negate, I can still go into my Ominous Omen and then non-targeting banish him,
Yeah.
But the thing is, you kind of have to think like 3 steps ahead of him and hope that he'll take the bait, which is sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you still have that chance. If you play your cards right, your opponent is likely to become nervous and then just like shotgun his effect that would have saved him if he had held on to it. So I do hate Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, but I don't think that he's the worst. I forgot where I was going with this. I think I was saying something to the effect.
You're saying how he's not the worst, but DP is.
Oh yeah, no, DPE is absolutely terrible. I hate him. It's just, DPE also isn't bad. Like, it's just that he's in a lot of like really annoying. I'm gonna do something, and now you can't play decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it turns into one of those things where it's like, yeah, like my DP popped the scythe. Now, have fun. Yeah. So it is what it is. But yeah, so that was a huge back and forth game, and believe it or not, this was not the only one that night that went down like this. Because the event ends today, so I think a lot of people were really trying to kind of get all of the gems that they could out of the event. And I was just like not expecting that everybody was going to be playing the grind game, So it was a huge back and forth, and it was a lot of fun. But I tell you, by the third game, I was like, I'm good. I need to log off and go outside for like 12 hours.
I was so mad that they were like teasing that it was going to be like a synchro event. So I made Mech Lords because it's an anti-synchro deck and it's just something gimmicky and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's going to be a normal / rare event.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have any points to make like a deck, and the decks that they have are
kind of dumb.
You don't get as many points. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, out of the material that I have, like, normal and rare is the most. So I actually made, like, about 4 different decks for this event and kind of played with each of them a little bit to kind of see which one was going to perform better. And I started out with Shiranui, and Shiranui did okay. Like, it wasn't winning every game, but it wasn't losing every game either. So I was like, all right, you can work with this. Surprisingly, a lot of the Tri-Brigade main deck and extra deck monsters are normal or rare. So I built a Tri-Brigade deck, and in a couple of different variations. So I built like the pure Tri-Brigade, which did all right. You don't have a good link 4 to go into, and you can't use Revolt. No. So it's like, this doesn't work that well. I tried a Gladiator Beast variant, which did pretty well, but whenever you draw all your level 8 Gladiator Beasts, you kind of brick really hard. So I was like, okay, so not that one. And I forget what the other one was. Let me see. Maybe I have it here in my deck list still. So we had Metal Foes. No, I looks like I deleted them. But yeah, so I used Shiranui, Metal Foes. I did a Tri-Brigade one. I might have done like a pure Zombie World build, but Zombie World itself is like a super rare. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do that. That's just kind of dumb.
I'm gonna do a Zombie World that I can't use Zombie World in.
Yeah, like, and also all of my best monsters are not summoned, or you either can't summon them or they're just not as good without Zombie World. So it was
do
a lot.
Baylor Truck.
Yeah, Battledrock, for example, is a super rare, I'm pretty sure, so you can't use them.
Gotta use Poison Mummy, I guess.
Yep.
Question mark.
Malevolent Mech Goku N. Or something like that.
Air Neos.
Air Neos, which is not in this game. But yeah, so I mean that's kind of like the extent of what I had in terms of replays. It is the new season, so I've been bumped down to Gold 5.
As you should be. You cheater.
Me cheater. That's fair, I guess.
I got on real quick to see like what the highest turn count I had on one of my replays was, and it was like 6.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to close out the game as quick as possible, so it's kind of like, eh. So surprisingly, gadgets saw a lot of play during the event. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh yeah, gadgets are amazing. They're like you rank 4 spam all day with those.
Hmm. Yep. Right now, like the one that I'm playing is the Tri Brigade, Gladiator Beast, and it's just such a blast from the past because I'm over here like, what do you call it? Lightning vortex. Get rid of all your monsters. Using dummy things like, discard kit for lightning vortex, so now my kit effect procs to send Nerval. Add the fractal to hand and just go battle phase into Gladiator Beast Darius. Now, one of the things that really bothered me is that a lot of the Gladiator Beast big monsters, the big main deck monsters, don't have matching levels. So you can't go into an Xyz plays right after you summon them, So, like, a lot of their effects are like one and done. They come out, they do their effect, and then after that, the best thing you can do is tag them out.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, this was fun though, because he goes Diamond Crab King into my Gladiator Beast Augustus, and I use Shrink, so he just like, oh man, that was beautiful. And then Octavius comes back, pops something. Gladiator Beasts are fun.
Yeah, they do have like fusion monsters for the Glad Beast, but they're not great fusion monsters. They're contact fusion, right? So you don't have to use poly.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's not great to summon a not good monster.
Yeah, it's not fantastic. Like the best one I would say is probably, well, I mean, there's a couple of ones that are really really good. Like for example, Geyserus is good because he shows up, he pops 2, and then he ducks. What's it called? You can summon Heraclinos, which is pretty good. I think that one's like a monster effect negation. But it's kind of I don't know. It's kind of hit or miss. Apparently, I have one where I dueled somebody who was in Platinum 1, and I won. So I'm curious. I save these, but I never remember what they are, or what I did that made me save them. Or what I was playing. Now, this is Metal Pose.
I don't remember like any of the replays that I have. They're all like short because I'm pretty sure it's like people see I was playing Lyrilisk and they're like, I don't want to deal with it.
Nah, bro, I don't want to mess with Lyrilusks. They're dangerous.
It's a 3-minute or 3-turn thing, but at the same time, it's a 20-minute per turn thing.
Right. Now on this one, it looks like I just kind of like I just drew the nuts, so it's just kind of like, hey, pop your own stuff, summon your own things, pendulum summon all day long, nobody cares, let's go. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he's playing like the Phantasm Spiral thing, which is like, yeah. Which is a really obnoxious deck when it gets off the ground. Because it's like, oh, here's my 2000 attack token, and by the way, I can activate all my traps from my hand, and if you get rid of my token, I can special summon a token, and it activates my my other stuff, and I'm like, oh, this sucks.
I've dealt with this deck once or twice before, and it's one of those things that it interests me because it's not like a well-known used strategy that is in the meta and front deck on the field. It's like a table 500 strat, and
right.
I just love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic for the table 500 stuff because it's one of those things that you have to really think in order to out it because it will do stupid things. And for the most part, in my experience, I've noticed that if you get rid of the field spell, they have a real hard time recovering. But this guy went ahead and armed himself with some hand traps that lower my attack points here, so I'm just kind of like, oh, well, this sucks. I'm just tanking damage here, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure that I pull ahead here because right now I'm at half his life. I'm at 41 and he's at 8,000. And I'm just like, this sucks. And he's got like so much stuff set. And I'm using my same strategy, you know, like fusion summoning my metal foes before his turn ends so that he can't torrential me. And then, of course, you know, using my metal foes combination and my metal foes counter to refill my hand.
Using them paleos.
Yeah. Hair-raising narratives is here, and I want to say hello. And also, PA says that if he puts me on fast forward, I have a stuttering problem. You don't have to put me on fast forward, PA. I have a stuttering problem IRL. I like, for example, just now, I did it a couple of times.
I just can't talk, so
Yeah.
Can't read, can't talk. Just gotta play Yugi, man.
Just gotta play Yugi, man. And as you can see here, he already has his C stealth attack, which is kind of the big boy of this, as long as you have the field spell out, which he hasn't drawn into the field spell. So I think that a lot of the reason that his that he actually didn't get like the level of control over me that he was hoping to get is because he didn't have that field spell. But here we go into Ori Calc, and now both of my monsters are Chaos Max Dragons, dealing 56k in one hit, and then 14 in another. And now it's like, okay, the playing field has been leveled. If I had Pendulum summoned the Volflame at before the battle phase, I think that would have been game. But you know, I am foolish.
Got two. Like wrapped up in the moment. You're like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna end this.
Tenyi Spirit Vishuddha, technically a Sword Soul card.
He's playing Sword Soul Spiral.
Yeah, he's playing Sword Soul Spiral. Right here, full Metal Foes Fusion. Sending Orichalc and Mithrilium to get myself another Orichalc. And then, of course, they both trigger when they hit the graveyard, so that pops the Monk of the Tenyi. And then it special summons a Volflame from the graveyard, so it's like, yeah, here we are. He's like, okay, well played, pass turn. And, you know, I don't like to be that guy that's just like, oh, my opponent's completely disarmed. Let me continue to combo just to flex. So, you know, like, if he's got nothing on field, I'm like, all right, you know, let's just close the game.
And then they battle Fader, and you're like, oh, okay. I was just trying to be nice and not be him, but you brought out the worst in me now.
Because there is them peeps that do that, and you know, like my locals is particularly bad about it. That, you know, like they will have game. You know, like it is clear I have been completely disarmed. But, you know, they're like, oh, okay, so you got nothing? And I say, yeah, no, I have nothing. So they'll continue to combo for like 6 minutes. And I'm like, dude, just enter battle phase and put me out of my misery. You know, like, what are you doing? But it is what it is. You know, like, I don't know. Part of me wants to be like, maybe they're just trying to like play through their combos so that way they can memorize it better. I don't think that is what it is.
Sometimes that is, but I'd say most of the time it's a safer thing, because if your opponent has cards in the hand, like I said, you can battle Fader and then come back next turn if you're not too careful.
Right.
But if your opponent has nothing in their hand and nothing in their graveyard that can like save them, don't be like, I'm gonna play solitaire for the next 20 minutes just so you can lose.
Yeah, just so that, yeah. That's kind of why people just kind of like HR says sometimes they need to learn a lesson. So it's like, okay, so you're completely disarmed and you have nothing in your hand or graveyard that can save you, correct? Okay, now just because you stalled me this long, now I'm gonna combo for 6 minutes just to put you in your place. It was like, here you go. That's definitely one way to do it. Um,
I woke up this morning and chose violence.
yeah, I woke up this morning and I chose violence. But yeah, I mean, I can see the whole thing about covering yourself, so you combo off a little bit more, so that way they don't have like the opportunity to make a comeback. But I don't know, like Raven earlier on this on his coffee stream, where like two people DC'd on what's it called? So basically, the other team is at 50% capacity, and he was just like, I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm not gonna destroy them because their teammates are assholes. Kind of the same reason, like usually if I've gotten to a place where my opponent is disarmed, uh, I'll just close the game. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna combo for 6 minutes. I have game on field. I can attack you, and we're done. But yeah, so like it. A lot of the times, I guess you can also kind of like read your opponent and know whether or not they have something that they can make a comeback with, whether by seeing whether or not they choose to scoop. Because a lot, if it's like I have game on field, uh, and they have nothing on field and they just say pass and they're passing with an empty field, I become a little more leery, because now it's like, I have game on field, you have nothing, and you passed. That means that there's something in your hand or somewhere that I'm not aware of that you can do to stop me. But yeah, and a lot of the times whenever your opponent recognizes, okay, I'm dead to rights, they'll just be like, all right, game 2, or game 3, whatever. I've now come to see that I have a lot of stuff here on my desk that I was unaware of.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. It's just I've been looking for these hand traps, and it turns out that they were on my desk all along, and I'm like, oh. I was wondering where those went. But anyway, we've been going for an hour and a half, and I think it's time to let Dareinger get some sleep. He's apparently been up since last night. And also,
It's
yeah,
what?
what were you saying?
No, I wasn't say nothing.
Okay. Well, also me. Like I came back and fully jet lagged last week, and my bosses decided to give me the 6 a.m. shift for like 6 days straight. So I think it's a good time for both of us to go into hibernation.
It was a fun stream.
It was.
Like I said, really happy that you were able to get 8 out of 10 of the questions correct.
Thank you, thank you. I did my
We'll have
best.
to work on that, though. We'll have to work on that and get you up to 10 out of 10.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that. But from time to time, I assume you're just gonna blindside me with a question. Like
Yeah, I'll post some like chain link 15 questions that I'll need you to answer.
just be like out of the blue, like I'll just be like talking to the chat, like, yeah, so like, hey, Patience is in the chat. Hey, Patience, how you doing? And you're like, quick question, chain link 3 this, chain link 4 this, chain link 5 this, what resolves in what order? And I'm like, but
Just break down and start crying in the middle of a Walmart because I'm texting you like different questions.
yeah, like I'm grocery shopping and Bard's like, okay, Bard, Dare. You are Bard now, I am Dare.
Hello, I am from Texas. Yeehaw.
I am Dare, and I am the best boy with cheese.
Yeehaw.
But I want to thank everyone in the chat. BA Nightmares, Hair Raising Narratives, Patience G, the Nevermore Collective was in there. Oh wait, that's me. Helix416 stopped by earlier, so thank you guys for. Oh, and Ceres Death was here too. Thank you guys for stopping by to say hello. Hair Raising Narratives, you are not late. You arrived exactly when you needed to, and it really touched my heart. So we're good. But thank you to everyone. we are going we are going to bed now, as soon as I can find my bed. And Lord Mordor says we are Dard, a mixture of Dareinger and Bard.
I approve of this.
Good night, guys. Once you join the collective, you can leave Nevermore.
Goodbye.